Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the Danger Zone. It's your boy, Ken Moore. It's with my boy, Floyd B. in the house. Want to welcome y'all to week 2 of the Danger Zone. My co-host is with me for the first time. He was unable to make it last week, but we got a dynamite show here for you guys here tonight. We're going to be talking about March Madness. The brackets on the men's and women's side have been released. We're going to put a bow on the first week of NFL free agency. We have a special guest in the house that we're going to get to in just a few moments. But first of all, we want to welcome everyone to the Danger Zone. I am your host, Ken Moore. This is my boy, Floyd B. Floyd, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Welcome to the show, my brother. He is a Texans fan. So Titans fans, we're going to have a little bit from the other side this season. We're going to be talking some Texans as well this offseason. So my boy Floyd is in the house. Say what's up to the people, Floyd.
Welcome to the Danger Zone. And I'm so happy to be a part of this Danger Zone with my boy Ken. He's a brother. We Jaguars for life. I got much love for you. Your creation here and what you've done here in the Danger Zone. I'm just glad and happy to be a part of it. Now that we've got that out the way, let's get down to business, fellas.
All right. Well, of course, we're going to be talking NFL free agency. We're going to talk about what the Titans have done in NFL free agency, what the Texans have done. We're going to go across the NFL landscape. The Pittsburgh Steelers making a lot of moves, cleaning out their quarterback room. But first and foremost today, it is Selection Sunday in the NCAA on the men's and women's side. And we bringing in a special guest, a buddy of mine, a guy I call college football games with in the SWAC, my guy, Santoria Black. He also is the voice of college basketball. Let me get the screens up here, right, guys? Just give me one moment to get this laid out real good for us. There we go.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Got the screens laid out real nice for us there. And my boy Santoria, me and Santoria, we do college football for the SWAC on ESPN. We've been working together for the last 5 years, I believe. And Santoria is the voice of Grambling for college football and college basketball. And my man, you had a weekend, did you not?
Look, I had a long week. Started on Tuesday. I left Louisiana, headed over to Birmingham. I called 13 games in 4 days.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm a little tired.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I'm glad you got a little voice left. Of course, Grambling last night defeated Texas Southern to make their first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. I was shocked when I heard that. I did not realize that Grambling had never made it to the NCAA tournament. Talk to us about the atmosphere, the energy in that game last night against Texas Southern, a team that perennially is the team from the SWAC that goes to the NCAA tournament. I believe they've gone 3 years in a row, and Grambling gets that victory last night.
Well, look, it was an incredible atmosphere in Birmingham. When you start looking at how Grambling matriculated through the tournament, when they got to Texas Southern, everybody thought, okay, is it going to be Johnny Jones or the field that will make the tournament? I mean, literally, we've seen Texas Southern win the regular season, go to the tournament, be in the middle of the pack and go to the tournament, be at the bottom of the conference and go to the tournament. And so they just know how to win. And so last night, Grambling got up early. They were able to dominate. They were able to get good shots off. They played extremely good defense. Jonathan Cece is an incredible athlete for Texas Southern. He's from Lafayette, Louisiana, transferred from Incarnate Word. And to see what Grambling was able to do, it was just electrifying. Those last 60 seconds of the ball game, you started seeing where the Grambling fans that came out to the ball game, you saw Coach Jackson. They was like, look, the game's not over till it's over, but you started feeling it. You started feeling that Grambling was going to make history. And when they did, I think it was really incredible to see those kids, to see Coach Jackson, to get all the calls and the texts and the emails and social media messages from former players and athletes who had never had a chance to taste this moment. Everybody from, Kenny Sykes, who played in the 90s, and people like, Rex Tippett and those guys who went to the NAIA championship. They were just proud to see Grambling do this. It was just really incredible.
Awesome. Talk to us a little bit about the ball club. What was it like during the regular season? Were the expectations always there that this could be a team that could win the SWAC championship and advance further than a Grambling Tiger team has ever advanced before?
Last year they got a taste of the championship game. It's the third regular season championship for Grambling in the last 7 years under head coach Dante Jackson. And last year they got to the finals with Cam Christian and a few of those other guys. And, they lost in the finals to Texas Southern University. And it was really tough. They had that taste in their mouth, and they was like, we don't want to go out like that again. And so this year they really decided that they wanted to turn things around. You take a guy like Jordan Smith, who's been a great leader for this team. Jordan Smith hurt his back last year during that Texas Southern game, couldn't finish the game. This year, he said, it's personal. We got to get back. Tremichael Moulton, who was a fifth-year student who started at Grambling in 2019 from Shreveport, he's a quiet leader. Sometimes Coach Jackson has to tell him, hey, I need you to be a little bit more vocal, but he's a quiet leader. And you saw that in the game on Friday night when he went for 26 points and went 6 for 7 from the three-point line. Then you got Kentavious Dozier, who has come on and been really one of the leaders, first team all conference, as a matter of fact. And Dozier was able to really start getting more three-pointers and doing more there. You got Jalen Johnson, who was a transfer from Alabama A&M, who looks like a tight end at 6'10", but he's got a tight end's body. He is huge. Jonathan Aku, who comes in the middle. And so you just got all of these guys and all these pieces. Mikhail Stevenson, who comes in as a guard, and just a lot of these pieces in the ball game that really they said, look, we got to make sure that we win this one this year. It's not finished until we win the whole thing. And they knew they were going to see Texas Southern again, a team that they had split with earlier in the season. They lost at home, won on the road, and that's how both teams went. So this team they expected to get back to the championship game. I think for Grambling, it was about making sure that they kept their focus, understood what the assignment was. They had a couple of losses late in the season, one against Alabama State, which was in double overtime in Montgomery. They ended up seeing them again in the first round of the tournament, only winning by 6. But really, this team said from the very beginning, we want to get back to the championship. And it was a year that it was trying. It was a year that they lost Terrence Lewis, one of the guards that they wanted to have this season. But they wanted to get back to this moment. And the year was tough in the non-conference season. They didn't win as many games as they wanted to. But when they got going during the regular season, I mean, it was incredible. 14-4 is just incredible.
Right. Absolutely. We definitely want to invite everyone. If you're new to the show, we definitely want you to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. As we mentioned, we're going to be doing a lot of different things other than just concentrating on the NFL. We're going to be talking March Madness, NBA, playoffs when it rolls around. But right now, we're talking some SWAC basketball and NCAA tournament with my guy, Santoria Black. Floyd, you got any question for Santoria about Grambling basketball?
Well, more so just applauding him, because you can hear the passion in his commentary and what he's talking about, man, because me as a long-time college basketball fan, I done lost that zest. I've lost that feel, the rush you get when March Madness come around. But I think we need to hear more from guys like Mr. Black to get us back. Like he said, I never realized that Grambling had never made the big tournament. I know Texas Southern has made it 3 or 4 times. I can remember probably in the last 10 years, but they always one and done, But just the fact of them making it to the tournament is a big step. But I applaud Mr. Black. I need to hear more of you. Let the world hear more. Let them feel the energy and the passion that you have to get us back, man. Because we grew up Southwest Conference. SWAC, you know. So we was looking for, you know, that guy that to get us back, man, because, you know, the Kentuckys and the Kansas and the Duke, they burned us out, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They burned us out.
Mm-hmm.
The one and done, they ran us away. The one and done guy, they ran us away. So for you, Mr. Black, to continue, man, lifting up the Southwest Conference, you know, getting attention back, getting us fans back into the game. But you've done a wonderful job. For Grambling, I was totally in the blind with that because I was just almost sure that they had at least one appearance in there. But again, man, doing a great job, man. Keep up the work, man.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, it's an honor to do what I do, and it's extremely it's something that I've been loving for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the Grambling matchup coming up in the Big Dance. So they will take on Montana State in the first four. I believe that game will be in Dayton, I believe on Wednesday. And
Correct.
then the winner of that game will have the privilege of taking on number one Purdue in Indianapolis. Have you had a chance to even look at Montana State? I know the matchup just came out a couple of hours ago. Have you even had a chance to look at a roster for Montana State and see what they have to offer?
Montana State actually won the Big Sky Conference by beating Montana. Montana State was not one of those top seeds that you thought were going to win the conference in their own conference tournament, but they gave Montana all they could handle in that ball game. I think they were like a number 4 seed or a 3 seed in that tournament, and they went on to win that ball game. But they do have some inside presence. They do have a couple of great shooters outside. I think that the one thing that Grambling is going to be able to match up well with that is their forward play with Jordan Smith, because he can shoot the ball at 6'7" from the outside. And then, of course, with his dribble drive penetration, not afraid to go to the baseline. They can match with some of the guard play. I think Montana State does have the guards, especially a point guard, a little bit taller than Tremichael Moten. But I think that when you start looking at the talent on the inside with Jonathan Aku, with Jalen Johnson, they definitely can battle on the inside there with Montana State. I think the biggest thing for them is Montana State is your traditional team that runs extremely well on fundamentals. They know how to pick and roll. They know how to give and go extremely well. They know how to run the baseline, run a very good zone defense. And because of that, I think that there's something that they're going to have to make sure that they contend with in this ballgame. But I think that Grambling can win this game. I think they got to play good defense. They got to keep those guards at bay and not allow them to roam around, because they're really dangerous without the ball. And I think if they do that, then they can be successful in the first game.
Will you be going up to Indiana to call the game?
I know I'll be possibly going to Dayton. I'm not sure yet, but not sure about that. My niece, she is a finalist in the state powerlifting meet in Louisiana. It's her senior year, and so I will be cheering her on Friday. Wednesday, hopefully I'll be able to get up there, but Friday I will be screaming loud and proud for my niece when she gets ready to try to go for the title for a weightlifting meet.
Absolutely, absolutely. If they're able to get past Montana State, Purdue is there. Do they have any ladders they can use to kind of try to control Edey in the paint? Put two on two.
Jesus, the shamans, you got bishops. You need to get. I mean, you need to call them all. You need to call all the disciples. Look, Purdue is what they are. They're the number 1 seed in this region. They're very good. Edey is. This is his final hurrah. He wants to get a national championship. They're still got a little bitter taste in their mouth by losing in the conference tournament. And so because of that, I think that they're going to be more driven in this ball game. But, hey, look, anything can happen on any given day. The days of just guaranteeing yourself a victory because you're a 1 or 2 or 3 seed are gone. And I think that's good for college basketball. Here's the difference, I think, when you talk about Purdue. Purdue has a lot of guys in there that are 2- and 3-year guys and a couple of 4-year guys. You don't see that a lot in some of your bigger programs. You don't see that a lot in your Kentuckys and in your Ohio States at times. You see a lot of 2-year guys, 1-year guys, portal guys, and, a couple of years and they're done. Purdue's got a lot of guys that are 2- and 3-year guys, and that's why they've been successful. If you take a look at it, they got a lot of players that are coming back that are juniors and seniors. And so that really is unusual when you're talking about a team in this day and age.
Yeah, and they have been a team that historically has struggled getting out of the first weekend. of the NCAA tournament. Another Louisiana school, ironically in the same bracket, McNeese, has had an incredible season, 30-3. They're in that 5-12 bracket in Salt Lake City against Gonzaga. We know traditionally that number 12 is kind of that line where they usually upset the number 5. Is usually, if there's an upset, it's that 12 over that 5. Have you had a chance to see McNeese at all this year? And what can you tell us about that ball club?
Won the Southland Conference tournament, won the regular season. A very dangerous ball club. And I would say, don't be surprised if they not only beat Gonzaga, but Kansas doesn't make it out of that game with Samford. This is a really tricky bottom part of this bracket here. And there's a lot of talent at McNeese team. And a lot of people are just looking at McNeese and saying, where are they at? What do they do? This is a very good ball club that can shoot well. They know how to move the ball down the floor. They can match Gonzaga's speed. That's the other thing. So, Gonzaga we've seen slip up a little bit here and there this year against St. Mary's in the Western Conference Finals, West Coast Finals, I should say. And this year they've had some slip-ups. McNeese is a very dangerous ball club, though, and they could possibly get to the Sweet 16. Do not be surprised if you see McNeese or Samford end up in the Sweet 16 this year. I think that is very possible. This is not your old Kansas. It's not your old Gonzaga. Gonzaga made a name for themselves, and they're very good in basketball. But boy, McNeese is something to watch, and don't be surprised if you see them get out of this game with Gonzaga.
Yeah, Kansas is a very injured ball club right now. I went to the Kansas-Houston game last weekend here in H-Town, and their leading scorer was already injured coming into that ball game. I think he only played about 5 or 7 minutes, did not play in the Big 12 tournament. Their second leading scorer, the big guy Dickinson, he separated his shoulder in the final regular season game against Houston. He did not play in the Big 12 first round game for Kansas. So we don't know what the status of those guys will be on Thursday night when they take on Samford. Not sure if that game's going to be Thursday night or Thursday afternoon. But nevertheless, this is not the same Kansas team. I believe they lost 8 games in the Big 12, the most they've ever lost. They suffered their biggest defeat ever in the Big 12 when they lost by 30 points to Houston last weekend. So Kansas definitely goes into this tournament limping. So the top part of this Midwest bracket could get interesting, and McNeese could find their way out of there. Man, how crazy would the state of Louisiana be if somehow McNeese and Grambling could meet up in a Sweet 16 game? That would be insane.
Well, they're gonna close the state down. There's nobody going to work on that day. I mean, everybody's gonna leave because that would just be, first of all, you would have one of the greatest upsets in the top part of that bracket, and then to beat either Utah State and TCU. McNeese
Right.
to be able to win against Gonzaga or either Kansas and Samford, I won't think as a surprise as people would think it is. It would. You would have to close the state of Louisiana down. It would just be incredible. But for those of you who do not know about McNeese, I'll bring up a player for you, Joe Dumars. He is a graduate of McNeese State University, played with the Pistons. He went to McNeese State University.
Absolutely. Let's look at the bottom half of that bracket, and then we'll get you out of here. Looking at the bottom, you got Texas against the Virginia-Colorado State winner. You got Tennessee going up against St. Peter's. Creighton, who I think is the sleeper of the tournament, that's a team I'm predicting to get to the Final Four out of this region. But you got that potential matchup at the bottom between Texas and Tennessee. Texas, of course, will be going into the SEC next year. Rick Barnes, the old Texas coach, now coaching at Tennessee. He's been there for quite a while. So that would be a heck of a matchup between the two orange UT versus UT.
Well, the top part of that bracket, I think it's going to be interesting to see South Carolina and Oregon in that ball game. I would not doubt Oregon get out of that. They're on a little bit of a hot streak right now, especially winning the Pac-12 tournament in its last hurrah. Creighton is extremely good, but as a 3 seed, I'm going to tell you something. Texas is dangerous, and so is Tennessee. I'm a little worried about. If you looked at them in the SEC tournament, they did not look good in their last game, and they've got a few things that they can get exposed. And a team like Texas, or even a Virginia, which struggled in the ACC tournament, both of those teams I think match up extremely well with Tennessee if they're able to get out of that game with St. Peter's. So Tennessee is not a sure thing right now getting out of that first weekend. But if they do, I think that they could have more problems with a team like Creighton than anybody else. Creighton is a very good ball club, a little bit dangerous. They've lost lost a couple of games this year, which were a little bit of a head scratcher. But Creighton is a team that could possibly get into the Sweet 16 and to the Final Four. But Tennessee worries me a little bit just because of the way that they've looked in the last couple of weeks. Sometimes they're extremely good. They're on. They can't miss. In the SEC tournament, though, boy, they really looked a little shaky at times. And so I don't know if they're going to get out of this one. I don't know if they're going to beat Texas. I think that, Texas goes there. That's a matchup problem for me, I think, with Tennessee.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I was surprised that Texas actually got a 7 seed. I was expecting them to get on that 8-9 line. For them to actually get the 7 seed and to get the opportunity to play a team that's going to be in the first 4, I think that's really a big break for the Longhorns. And then, of course, closer here to home, the Houston Cougars, number 1, number 2 overall. I think a lot of people overreacted to the loss yesterday to Iowa State. They lost that game by, I think, 28, 30 points. Houston really didn't care about that game, but they went into that ball game banged up. Jawan Roberts, the big man, he got hurt in the game before, so he was injured going into that ball game. We're already without Tugler, got a couple of guys out for the year. I think Kelvin Sampson really, if the game would have been tight throughout, I think he would have went for the win. But once they got behind deep, he was like, man, let's just take the brakes off. Let's just try to get into this tournament healthy. A lot of people thinking the Cougars will not make the Final Four. I, for one, think the Cougars will make the Final Four. Floyd, I'm going to bring you back into the conversation here because you've seen a little bit of the Houston Cougars this year. Tell me your thoughts on the Cougs.
First of all, I think when you're a top-ranked team, I think winning the conference may not be a good thing. I think somewhere along the way you need a loss. Yep. You need a loss along the way. And with the injuries to the Cougars, I give Sampson credit, for them playing hard. But I don't predict them. Actually, I don't even have them past the Sweet 16 because the injuries has caught up with them. And you know me, I'm a lifetime Cougar. But I think the injuries have caught up with them. And I like Iowa State, man. Iowa State is pretty good. But I don't believe the Cougars can make it past the Sweet 16, though.
Then Ken, I'm going to upset you here a little bit. I don't think Houston gets out of the first weekend. And I'm going to tell you why. Take a look at what Texas A&M is doing right now. They are an extremely hot team right now. And the way that they played in the SEC tournament and the way that they're shooting the ball right now, I would be really afraid if Houston has to play Texas A&M in the next round. I think they can beat Nebraska. But Texas A&M is a team that I would not want to see right now with the way that they played in the SEC tournament. Here's another thing. I think James Madison gets to the Sweet 16. As much as I love Wisconsin, that's my team. I'm from there. That is a very dangerous team at the 12 line right there. And Wisconsin, they got a big win in the Big Ten tournament. Wasn't able to close it out today against Illinois. But James Madison, be careful of those guys because I think they can make a little bit of a run. I'm hoping that Wisconsin can get all the way to the Final Four in the national championship game because it would be a national holiday. But
for you,
it would definitely be a holiday for me. But I think James Madison is a team that could come out of this bracket here. But I don't know if Texas A&M wins. I don't know if Houston makes it out of this weekend.
Well, I know Houston played Texas A&M here earlier this season, and that was the game where I believe Terrence Arsenault tore his ACL or his Achilles, and he went down for the year in that ball game. I believe it was at Toyota Center during the Christmas holidays, and Houston had a big lead in that ball game. Arsenault got hurt. They kind of had an emotional letdown, and they held on to win that game by, I think, by 4 points. I do think Texas A&M is a better team than they were early in the season, but I have watched every game that Houston has played. Houston has been tremendous. Even with the injuries, they have been tremendous the last month of the season. Sans the game day before yesterday against Iowa State, where I think they just ran out of gas and they had no interest in playing 3 games in 3 days. So it will be worth watching that Houston, if it is Texas A&M, because look, those schools are only about 50 miles apart. That's an old Southwest Conference rivalry. That game will have a lot of juice in Memphis, Tennessee, very close to Texas. So it'll be very energetic, and that's going to be a huge game if it comes to fruition next Saturday. But Nebraska, I believe that Nebraska Texas A&M game is going to be so physical, is going to be so emotional that whoever wins that game, I think they may not have enough to play a Houston team less than 48 hours later, because Houston's going to have a cakewalk against Longwood, and that may be a dogfight between Nebraska and A&M.
Yeah, look, and I get it. Look, the way that Houston looked yesterday, you could tell they were completely disinterested in playing against Iowa State. I mean, they didn't care. And I think they're not going to have any interest in Longwood either. That's a little bit of a dangerous attitude going into a game where you have to care now. And I think that's where you really have a problem. Remember, 18 to 22-year-olds cannot turn it on and off the way that we think that they can. And so when you have two games that you absolutely have no interest in, now you're going to have to turn it on against a much better opponent in Texas A&M, which is tremendously more better now than they were at the beginning of the season. That could be a dangerous game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 Well, Centurion, man, we definitely appreciate you dropping our knowledge again. Congratulations to Grambling on winning their first ever conference tournament game. Hopefully you have an opportunity to get up to Dayton to call that game. I know that would be exciting for you if you can make that happen, but definitely congratulations to the Tigers.
Thanks a lot, man. It's good to be on with you guys. And again, go Grambling.
All right. All right,
my man. Hope this is not the last time I see you.
Oh, absolutely not. I'll be back soon.
Oh, yeah. We'll have you on throughout March Madness. We're going to keep this train rolling every weekend. So we're going to be rooting for a Grambling upset. We'll see if the Tigers can pull it out.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Sam. Have a good night, man. We appreciate you joining us. All right. That was my guy, Centurion Black, calls college football for the SWAC for ESPN with myself. We've been calling football games together probably for the last 4 or 5 years for ESPN, and that is my guy. But now we're going to get ready to turn our attention to the NFL, and my guy Floyd B, he's very excited about his Houston Texans, so we're going to get his perspective on what the Texans have done this offseason, things that they may continue to do. So my guy, the floor is yours. Talk to the people. How you feeling? You're coming off a playoff win. The franchise has resurrected itself. I have been hard on you guys for the past 5 or 6 years. All in love. But the floor is yours, my brother. The floor is yours. Talk to me.
Welcome to the Danger Zone, everyone. And it's me, Floyd B, a lifelong Texan fan. But I got to admit, earlier this week, I got a little in my feelings a little bit because I was so content on Chris Jones. I really was. I wanted that acquisition. Go
ahead and take care of that for me real quick. I got a situation. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. And when we signed Danielle Hunter from Minnesota, H-Town boy he is, it kind of relieved me a little bit. Picking up the linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens, that kind of gave us another plan after Grenard signed with the Vikings. And we also picked up Audrey from the Titans, which is another pretty good pass rusher. But those guys are really role players. In order to get production out of Will Anderson, you got to have someone on the other side of him. And Grenard showed that. Grenard finished the season Texas sack leader with 12.5 sacks. And if I'm not mistaken, Will Anderson, I think he had 7 sacks, maybe 8 sacks. So it's really important to put a dominant pass rusher on the other side of Will Anderson. Somebody had to get those 12.5 sacks that we let walk out the door. Now, I wasn't big on giving Grenard that money anyway. I'm not big on giving free agency those big contracts when they're in a contract year, but I want all the brothers to get their money. Everybody get their money. I just wouldn't have gave him that type of money that the Vikings gave him needed. You know, and the Joe Nixon signing, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You know, I wanted to splash. Yes, I wanted to splash.
You want to say
yeah, he's a good back. He's good. He plays a lot. He'll run you over as well as juke you. He'll run you over, and I can live with that. But we still need a playmaker on offense. Texan fans, we need a playmaker on offense. And the move that we made today, that yesterday when we gave up our first round pick, Ken, not win from it, because they stole my joy. They stole the whole purpose of me taking the day off of work to get ready for the first round of the NFL draft, and we don't have a draft pick. They stole my glory, Ken. They stole my glory. They stole my glory, man.
Minnesota made the exact trade that I wanted the Tennessee Titans to make. In a perfect world, with the Titans signing Calvin Ridley, you got a number one wide receiver on the other side of D-Hop. Now, you still need a young guy, though, because both of those guys are over 30 or approaching 30 in Ridley's case. You got the number 7 pick, which I assume we're going to use for a left tackle. We have the number 38 pick, which Minnesota had the number 42 pick. So they take their 42 and a second round pick this year, second round pick in 2025. They move back into the first round. So now they got 2 first round picks. That's exactly what I wanted the Titans to do. Use that 38 pick, pair it with a second round pick next year, move into the high 20s, 22, 23, 24, where you can get your left tackle at 7, and then you can get your stud wide receiver, Adonai Mitchell from Texas, or Xavier Worthy from Texas, or Thomas from LSU, one of those guys that may fall into the high 20s. You can have that guy to solidify your wide receiver room, and he could be in there to learn from a D-Hop who only has 1 year left on his deal. Of course, Ridley will be there for the next 2 to 3 years, but that would be a guy that can step in once D-Hop leaves next year. So I'm still hoping that the Titans can make that type of deal. I was surprised to see the Texans move out of the first round. Yes. It did give them the opportunity to pick up a second round pick in 2025 to kind of recoup what they paid to get Joe Mixon. But it was somewhat surprising that they moved out of that pick.
Yeah, I mean, Knicks, I just as the fan, I can maybe look at if I begin to look at it from a business point of view, maybe it'll make sense. But I'm right now I'm looking at it from a fan's point of view, and considering that your top 2 receivers, the Texans, I'm talking, neither one of them played the entire season. One only played 8 games. Nico Collins missed 3-4 games. So they not on the field a lot, So for you not to make a move to get someone in there, and who knows, they may, one of them receivers might slip to the second round. Who knows? But I just thought that you had to do something other than re-sign Noah Brown, and you still holding on to Robert Woods.
Yeah, I got you. Shout out to the Titan Upload Network in the house. What's up, my guy? He's an Illini fan. We'll see what happens if the Cougs and the Illini meet up. Hopefully they'll meet up. But they got a show coming up after our show on their network. So shout out to those guys. They always do a wonderful job.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, my guy Clowney Super Bowl. Any news on the Chase Young front? I don't think either you or I are Chase Young fans. I know after what I saw this year when he got traded to San Francisco and the piss poor effort that he put forth in the NFC Championship game, I was out on him. He resurrected himself somewhat in the Super Bowl. He had a pretty good game in the Super Bowl, but that was one of those games where you gotta play well. You gotta save your career. It's the freaking Super Bowl. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? Especially after you put that trash on tape that you did in the NFC Championship game. So if you sign Chase Young for either one of our, it won't be for the Texans, obviously, because they're already loaded.
No.
For the Titans, it would have to be on a 1-year prove-it deal. It would have to be on a 1-year prove-it deal.
Definitely. I think me and you have discussed this off screen that Chase Young will be the new Jadeveon Clowney.
Yes.
And what I say about Clowney, Clowney was picked 1, Chase went 2. Am I right? Or did Chase go 1? Chase went 2, didn't he?
Chase was second. Yeah, he went 2. Clowney was number 1.
Yeah, Clowney was number 1.
But of course he was number 1. The Texans picked him.
Huh?
Of course he was number 1. The Texans picked him.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, good. Keep on building that bone.
I'm just spitting facts, man. I'm just
building that bone, though. I'm just building that bone. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up.
I'm just giving you the facts.
Yeah. But Clowney never lived up to be the sack machine that everyone predicted to be coming out of South Carolina. He never was that. Now, what you can say about Clowney, he didn't take downs off. He became great in the run. Great run. Great. Clowney is great against the run. Something that was his weaknesses coming out of college. But Clowney never got that big contract. Never got it. Everything once he got traded from the Texans, it was 1-year deals from that point on. Mm-hmm. He didn't get it. And that's what I see with Chase Young. I don't ever see him getting that deal. Because once he couldn't get nobody to bite this offseason, he got the key. And that boy got to come out the gate and he got to dominate. If he have any intention on getting that bag that he wants, he was a letdown to me. I thought after his rookie season in Washington that his play declined. Granted, he did get hurt, but I just see him as a Jadeveon Clowney at this point in his career.
So you would say that Chase Young is definitely in the danger zone.
He's in the danger zone. Chase is in the danger zone. He's definitely in the danger zone. And there's a few more of them out there right now that's in the danger zone too. One of my favorites that I believe is in the danger zone is Stephon Gilmore. I think he's in the danger zone. I think he's in the danger zone.
He's still in Dallas, or is he a free agent?
He's a free agent. He's free agent. And he was one of them that I was thinking, give him a 1-year deal, because at some point the Texans got to put somebody. Derek Stringer to me is highly overrated. The interception that he got this year, everyone just looking at the interception. I'm looking at how he got the interception, how they came about. It wasn't a great play he made. It was a bad throw on the quarterback. That's a big difference. That's a big difference, Ken. That's a big difference in you going up there getting that and taking that than the quarterback just throwing it to you. So I don't take a big. I didn't take those interceptions as dominant. Like he's the guy now. I didn't take it like that.
So did you see any improvement? Because he was hurt a lot his first couple of years, and he was almost teetering on that bust potential. Darryl Stingley. A lot of people were high on him, I guess, because of his interception numbers last year. But you watched a lot more of the games than I did, and so I'm gonna trust your assessment on that. What do you see for him going into year 4? I believe it is. 1, will the Texans pick up his 5th-year option? I guess that's first and more so.
No, I think this is year 3 for him, if I am mistaken. Okay. I think it's year 3 for him, if I ain't mistaken. I really believe that he's a product of a system with DeMeco Ryan is running right now. I really do. I don't think he's that guy. And I'm hoping, hope we do turn out to be that guy, but I don't see him as that guy. I did see him coming up to the line of scrimmage, tackling better, but that guy, he needs someone on the other side of him. He needs someone on the other side of him. And maybe we can, Steven Nelson, the other guy, he's still on the market. Maybe we can get a Stephon Gilmore on a 1-year deal, Maybe one of those cornerbacks that's projected for the first round slip to the second round. We definitely need some help on at the corner slots. Even playing well. Desmond King was a good pickup because Desmond King can play. He can line up against you. He can slide in the slot. That was a good move, and bringing him back was a great move, man. But again, they said the game ain't over yet. So right now we just on the clock waiting now, bro. That's all.
So y'all got a couple of guys from the Titans in free agency, Denico Autry, which that just really broke my heart. This is a guy that has really been tremendous next to Jeffrey Simmons, that 1-2 punch in that Titans defensive line. Over 8 sacks for the last 3 years, signed a 2-year, $20 million deal. Of course, you guys get Azeez Al-Shaair on a 3-year, $34 million deal to plug that inside linebacker position. You can't have everything on defense. I think your front seven is going to be dominant, especially with the aggressive style of defense that DeMeco Ryans likes to call. He likes to put pressure on the quarterback. So look, if you get into the quarterback, you don't have to have all-world cornerbacks on the outside. You just got to be serviceable on the outside. So I think with that front seven, I don't think you can ask for much more than that.
You're right. As much as I hate to tell you, you're right. You're right. The signing that we got from the Titans, good signing, didn't cost much, and they are, they are pieces to the puzzles. I like Archer. Archer can get after the quarterback. You got Hunter on the line. You got Hunter and him on that line with Azair, the linebacker. Now we have a linebacker who we know can cover, who we know is disciplined, who we know is not going to miss the tackle. You solidify them with role players. I'm really, really anxious to see how this all works in play. Really, I am. But I like the Autry pickup. I really do. I've seen him play his whole career with the Titans. He can get after that quarterback. If he got somebody on the other side of him, like Simmons he can go get after that quarterback.
Yeah, man.
I really like that sign. He was a good player. Mike Verbal put him in good position to make plays for the Titans. And I'm excited about that. But I seen earlier today, or was that yesterday, I saw that Mike Vrabel took a job as a consultant for who?
Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland
Browns. Yep. Took a job as a consultant.
Let me ask you this. Is Mike Vrabel head coaching days over?
No.
He got one more shot. Not. He got one. I think he got one more shot too.
He got another shot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, that I mentioned on my X account, going to the NBA as a comparison. Doc Rivers this year, in addition to his job at ABC as the analyst, he was also a consultant for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes, he was.
And Adrian Griffin.
Yes,
he was. Head coach.
Yeah.
What happened 2 months later?
Yeah.
Adrian Griffin was out.
Yeah.
And Doc Rivers was the head coach. Now, I'm not saying Kevin Stefanski's on any kind of hot seat. He's done an incredible job with the Browns. They got to figure out the quarterback position with Deshaun. They got to figure out a way to get him back to being a competent quarterback, because right now he's barely a competent quarterback right now. But Mike Vrabel goes in there as a consultant. They still have Jim Schwartz, who I believe is the defensive coordinator that came from Tennessee. He was a consultant with the Titans a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. You know, a lot of people thought those guys maybe they didn't get along too well. Vrabel and Schwartz, I'm not really sure. Both of those guys are defensive stalwarts. So it'll be interesting. You know, it's a way for Mike to stay in the game, stay fresh,
Yeah.
you know, keep his name out there. And then when job openings come available next year, he'll be one of those guys that'll be in the quarterback in the head coaching carousel.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jim Schwartz is a good defensive coordinator, without a doubt. But he'll never be a head coach again, though.
No.
Just like the boy in Kansas City, Steve McNoy. Great defensive coordinator, but he'll never be a head coach again. And he knows that.
Right.
I don't know if Jim Schwartz has accepted that, even though it's been a while since he's been a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. His name didn't come up in any interviews this offseason.
No.
And he had the number one defense for most of the season.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think some guys' bridges are already burnt when it comes to that.
Yep. Like Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith will never be a head coach again. No matter how well he does in Pittsburgh. And we'll get to the Steelers in just a moment for the Steeler fans. We got 30 in the house right now. By the way, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. We'll be coming to you every Sunday night, 8 p.m. On most Sunday nights. And then if there's breaking news throughout the week, of course, I'll hop on and we can chop it up about that.
Without a doubt. Raise the roof zone.
Yep, no doubt.
Hit that subscribe button. We here, baby. Hit that subscribe button. We here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To put a bow on your Houston Texans, what do you want to see from the rest of free agency? What do you want to see in the draft since you don't have a first-round pick now? And what is your outlook? Do you see this team as the favorite in the AFC South? Do you see this team as a, dare I say, a Super Bowl contender now with all of the additions that they've made over the past week? What's your overall view?
I really believe that we are maybe 2 players away from actually being a Super Bowl contender. I think we're a playoff contender team now? Absolutely. But you ask Super Bowl, we have to get something else on the outside, and we need a corner. We can live with everything else we got. Depth. Use them draft picks for depth. But yeah, I think we're 2 players away from being Super Bowl contenders. Right now, as we speak, we're the favorite in the AFC South. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. We are the favorites in the AFC South. So, Anthony Richardson, if you're looking, if you can hear us, listen at the word that's coming out of my mouth. We are the favorites in the AFC South, not the Indianapolis Colts. I actually think the Colts are going to take a couple steps backwards.
Yeah, ain't too much further backwards they can go.
I mean, the Colts played well, man. They played well, bro. Ashley should have won that game. The man dropped it wide open, 4th and 1 catch wide open. He dropped it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
I'm a realist. I am a Texan fan, but I am a realist. He catch that, and the game is over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
He catch that, and the game is over.
Now, I do want to remind you that 12 months ago, Jacksonville was feeling just like you. Trevor Lawrence went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, got to the divisional round, wet the bed, came back, started off hot, fell on their face, and now they trading for Mac Jones. 24 months ago, Tennessee Titans, riding high, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, number 1 seed, blah, blah, blah.
Try 36 months ago.
Fell on their face in the first round and or the second round, divisional round, and you see where we are. 1 year does not necessarily translate to the next year. All the time. You got a first place schedule. You got a first place schedule.
Absolutely.
Other than Tank Dell, the team was pretty healthy last year for the most part. Expectations sometimes can bring a team down because now you're no longer the hunter, you're the hunted, so to speak. So now there's a level of expectation. Last year, there was no expectation whatsoever. So you caught everybody by surprise.
Well, here's what, and I hope that we don't fall into this, but you named the Titans and the Jaguars and their little runs. One of the errors that both of those teams made was that they didn't improve their team the next year. Neither one of those teams, Tennessee had a 3-year run, but in those 3-year span, they didn't improve their team. In a lot of ways, they stayed packed. Jacksonville shouldn't even they won the division, but they shouldn't even beat the Chargers. They had no business winning that game at all. And what winning that game did to Jacksonville was fool them. It fooled them. It fooled them. Personally, I think the Peterson thing has ran its course. I think that his style.
Doug Peterson, the head coach?
Yes. I think his style has ran its course. I really do. I think his style has ran its course. Because if you look at it, and we can't use the Eagle run with this. We can't use this because that Eagle team was almost together when he got there. I don't give him, when a backup quarterback comes in and plays that well and continue to lead your team, I give him I give the quarterback a lot of credit on that too. For staying ready, for being ready all the time. But Doug Peterson is one of the older coaches in the league now.
So you're putting Doug Peterson in the danger zone?
Yes. 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 Let me see his name across there in big bold letters too. Yes, Doug Peterson is in the danger zone. Without a doubt. Because, listen, man, Gabe Davis over Calvin Ridley is not better. I don't care how you look at that.
That's a GM decision, though, huh?
That's a GM decision. So he gone. What's the GM name for the Jacksonville Jaguars? He's in the danger zone too. They're in the danger zone in Jacksonville, man.
I can't remember who the GM is for the.
I know the Cons own the team. I know the Cons own the team.
But I can't remember who the GM is.
They're in the danger zone. You still don't have you don't have a number one receiver. Now you don't have Christian Kirk, really? Really? Christian Kirk ain't a number one receiver. And Gabe Davis is not a number one receiver. You lost. You franchise tag Will Smith. I'm good with that. He's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great season, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Doug Peterson's in the danger zone, bro.
Okay. You know who's out of the danger zone?
Who?
Derrick Henry.
I love that signing, man.
He's out of the danger zone, man.
Yes. And rightfully so. But he should have never been in the danger zone from the beginning because his play had not shown me that he was declining no form of fashion. Tennessee Titans in the danger zone. That's who's in the danger zone. The entire organization in the danger zone. Yeah. Not Derrick Henry. No. You gave. I don't understand this, bro. You give Tony Pollard 30 million? 29 million?
No.
3 year, 27 million?
No.
3 year, 24 million.
Yeah, but it's only 2 years, like 18 million guaranteed.
And you couldn't get at the Derek?
Derek didn't want to be there. Derek was ready to go.
If I can hear that come out of his mouth, I accept that. Because he had the right to be
in his press conference, in his press conference, he pretty much said he's where he wanted to be. You know, he gave all praise to Tennessee. He, thanked everyone in the organization. He thanked the fan base. But it was pretty clear, and we can't blame him at all. He wanted to go where he had a chance to win. And now I don't know how quickly the Titans can turn things around. The offense, I believe, is headed in the right direction. I did not like the Tony Pollard signing. I'm not going to even front. I did not like it. I do like the contract after I saw the contract. All of the contracts that they did were structured in a way where they're essentially 2-year deals. Even the Calvin Ridley deal, the Tony Pollard deal, the center that they got from Denver, who Cushenberry, I believe is his name.
I looked up on him. He's all pro. That was a good sign. That's a good sign. That was a good sign.
Yeah. But as far as Derek goes, of course, everyone was disappointed. Of course, everyone is heartbroken in the Titan community. But most of us understand it. Now, him going to the Ravens, because that's our biggest rival. Next to probably the Colts and the Texans, the Ravens are our biggest rival.
Excuse me. I don't see how the Ravens are y'all biggest rival when I think you only played them in one playoff game.
No, we played.
I'm talking about in this era, not the old era, not the Steve McNair era. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But Steve McNair era. Yes.
We played them back to back. We played them in 2019. We beat them in Baltimore, and then we played them in 2020. They beat us in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so, but it does go all the way back to Steve McNair, Eddie George, and Ray Lewis, and all of that. Not the biggest rival to me. I'm okay with the Ravens. I mean,
yeah. But
it is what it is. But for those in Nashville,
that was rivals. In McNair, that was rival. Yes. It didn't get as. Look here. You can actually put that rival right there on the all-time list. With Cowboys, Redskins, Steelers, top rival. You can put that on that list, man. It was a rival, man. Yeah. I know we finna move on to Pittsburgh, but I gotta ask you this right here.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry or Eddie George?
For me?
Yes.
Derrick Henry. No question. For me, Derrick Henry. For me, because we got the Mount Rushmore, Earl Campbell, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry, Eddie George.
Earl Campbell, number one. I really wish you would stop calling Earl Campbell name when you start talking about this stuff, man, because you couldn't start a controversy, man.
Hey, man.
And really Eddie, too, man. I let y'all make it with Eddie and Steve. I let y'all make it with Eddie and Steve, man. But please, man, do not consider Earl Campbell tight, man. Don't do that to the legend, man. Don't do that to him, man.
I'm not finna play with you. I'm not finna play with you. I'm not even finna entertain that foolishness.
I ate some of the sausages this morning, man.
You see what's over my shoulder there, dog? Come on.
I see. Behind you there. I see, man.
It's the all-time great Titan right there.
Yeah, I see, man.
Yeah. But now, Derrick Henry over Eddie, man.
I would have to take him too. But my heart is with Eddie George because there's history with us. Eddie George, man. Mm-hmm. Eddie was a beast. He was a true beast.
We're gonna try to get Eddie on the show too.
Eddie wasn't solid. It would be a pleasure to have a conversation with Eddie.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna try to get Eddie on the show.
Great, man. I love Eddie, man. I really do, man. and ended his career in Dallas on that note kind of hurt me a little bit with him, But hey, man, Eddie, one of my all-time favorites, man. He really is, man. He ran hard, he gave everything, and more importantly, he had Steve McNair back.
Oh yeah.
Without Eddie George, Steve McNair never developed into the quarterback that he became.
Absolutely.
Because you and I both know he couldn't throw his way out of paper bag. Why we think so many years Wycheck was the leading receiver, whatever, with the 80 catches, 90 catches. He had to learn how to throw the football.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the Anthony Masons and what's the other boy we had, that came, Chris Sanders. That was the first one he was throwing it to. We had Chris Sanders, old tall wide receiver. I think he was out of Ohio State too, I think, man.
Yeah.
I think he wore 81. Chris had speed too. He can run though, man.
Yeah,
I just let you know, man, the history that we share together, man. That you and I share together, man.
Yeah.
At some point, man, we're gonna have to come to some common ground, man.
Yeah, we fractured off, man. When
Well, listen, the door's always open for you to come back home.
Oh no, I'm good.
It's always open.
I'm good.
It's always open to come back home, man.
I'm good.
We
got one more team to put in the danger zone tonight, and we're gonna get to them here. See what they're talking about. The Pittsburgh Steelers have cleaned out their entire quarterback room.
And rightfully so.
Gone.
And rightfully so.
Kenny Pickett, gone.
Bye.
Mason Rudolph, gone. Mason Rudolph in Tennessee now. No,
trash.
Mason Rudolph is great.
Trash.
Mason Rudolph is great. But they bring in Russell Wilson as the presumed starter, and they trade a conditional 6th-round pick that could turn into a 4th-round pick for Justin Fields. Now, before we get into them, let me talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they got this history, right? It's certain teams that always seem to make trades. Minnesota and Houston. We saw some Texans players go to the Vikings. We saw some Vikings players come to the Texans.
Yeah.
This past season.
Yeah.
2 years ago, the Bears trade a 2nd-round pick to the Steelers for Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Who's been terrible. Wasted 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
Right? The Steelers used that to take Joey Porter Jr. Obviously, his dad played with the Steelers. Joey Porter Jr. looks like he's going to be a hell of a cornerback for the next 5 to 6 years if he can stay healthy.
I don't think he's better than Witherspoon, though, but go ahead.
Come back this year, the Steelers did it to him again. Got their quarterback for a 6th-round pick. Might turn into a 4th-round pick. Did the Bears trade Justin Fields too soon? Should they have waited for the draft? Should they have waited to camp to see if they could possibly get more? Or was this the best deal for them? They taking 10 cents on the dollar. 10 cents on the dollar as to what they drafted Justin Fields as a number 1 pick, and they trade him for a number 6 pick.
Well, management got exactly what they had deserved, because they didn't particularly. I wouldn't have went public with it neither, but they didn't really act like they were shopping him, man. Just to be honest with you, man. Football was a cruel business. Football like the mob, man. NFL like the mob. They everything is done strategically, man. So, me personally, I wouldn't have traded him. I'd have kept him. Then I'd have played around with him with the franchise tag. I'd have did everything that they just did that they didn't do for him the whole 2-3 years he was there. They do it now. Now, granted, Ryan Poles was not the GM then. He was not the GM. But me, I wouldn't have traded him. I wouldn't have traded him, man. I wouldn't have traded him because you could. Do you know what you could have got for that number 1 pick? You could have moved down 2 spots and got a number 1 this year, next year, and the year after that, because that team want Caleb Williams just that bad. As the Bears, I wouldn't have. I'd have drafted Marvin Harrison, and then with that 9th pick, you continue to prove your offensive line. You continue to move your offensive line. It was terrible. It was dumb. It was that. I don't see anything strategic about what they doing now, what they did, and it's gonna pay because you're not gonna pay Keenan Allen after this season. You're not. I don't care how great a season he have. You're not gonna pay him. You know that as well as I do.
They traded a 4th round pick for him.
Was it a 4th or 5th? It was something. He on the last year of his contract. On last year's contract. He on last year's contract. They hoping he can make a splash to draw somebody else. Because Keenan Allen 32 years old. They're not gonna give him. He have not had. Well, he's been just as good. He maybe even better than Mike Evans. I ain't gonna say that. But Keenan Allen ain't been on the field. He's been hurt the last 2 or 3 seasons for sure. He don't be on the field, so they're not gonna pay him. You're not gonna pay him. They dropped the ball on this. This franchise could have been set for the next 5 years and the next 2 years. For sure. You keep Justin Fields. You have. I don't understand how that is. Okay, Ryan Poles come in as the new GM. You keep the head coach, but you let go the quarterback that the head coach drafted is responsible for drafting. Where they do that at? Where they do that at?
If I'm gonna get rid of the quarterback, I'm gonna get rid of the head coach too.
So because you made the head coach. Everybody thinking when you kept the head coach, you got to keep the quarterback.
Because you make the head coach fire his whole staff and rehire a whole new staff.
Now check this out. If they come out the gate bad, they struggle bad, and they losing, he gone next season. So now here come Caleb Williams doing the same thing that Justin Fields just went through. It's just not something I wouldn't have did it, man. I wouldn't have did it. I'd have took a chance of him playing on that thing out of France. I'd take the franchise tag. He'd have took the 1 year, $30 million or whatever it is, however it may be, and you move on from there.
Sound like you got the Bears in the danger zone.
Hell yeah, they're in the danger zone. Put them up there. Let me see them.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hey, say, kid, you know, bro, that they in the danger zone, man. Now, I tell you who's not in the danger zone.
Who's not in the danger zone?
Pittsburgh Steelers not in the danger zone. They're not.
Steelers out of the danger zone.
They out because no matter how well Russell Wilson may play, he gonna lose the locker room, bro. He always does. This is from multiple sources following that he's not disrespectful, but he is a diva. This goes back to the Legion of Boom days. Them boys getting on Smoking Skull, calling it like it is. One of them, Marshawn Lynch appearing on the Shannon Sharp, Shay on Club Shay, revealing like it. Richard Sherman quoted publicly. They babysitted him. I mean, that's him. Now, How much did Russell Wilson learn from that in Denver? Who knows? Who knows? But at least you are set at the quarterback position now. I don't think they have to worry about that because if one don't fail, you got another one. So
Right.
they're not in the danger zone.
Right.
Actually, the Pittsburgh still has got back up in that playoff picture right now because the acquisition of Patrick Queen, man. I love that, man.
That was a great pickup for them. Like I said, cleaning out and starting over in the quarterback room, I think is going to be a net positive for them. Look, this is a team that squeaked into the playoffs last year as the 7th seed. They've done that a couple of times. Now, they haven't won a playoff game in forever. But I think when you look at the AFC North, I think Cincinnati has some problems because T. Higgins has requested a trade. Joe Mixon is gone. I forgot the running back. Did they get Singletary to come in there?
No, they got
Who is
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss. They got Zach Moss in. Yeah. So we'll see if he can carry the load there. But they've lost a couple of guys. Joe Burrow, kind of injury prone. So you don't know if they're going to get back to that elite level. Obviously, the Ravens are going to be there as long as Lamar can stay healthy. Cleveland's going to be there as long as they have that defense. They need a running back because I don't know about Nick Chubb coming back from that devastating ACL injury that he had last year. So I don't know if he's supposed to be RB1 or if they have another running back coming in to compete with him. But I think Pittsburgh will be in the mix if they can get solid quarterback play, as you mentioned, from Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. And I think Russ will be fine. I think he's kind of learned the error of his ways, so to speak. And he's got a coach now that wants him, and Mike Tomlin. It's different from that means a lot. Because we knew Sean Payton didn't want anything to do with it. Sean Payton didn't want anything to do with it. And we'll probably talk about the Broncos in our next episode. I'm not even going to get into them tonight. We'll get into them next week.
What I really like to, and I know you're getting ready to wrap it up, but this has kind of been on my mind really for the last 2 or 3 days. And it's a word that's being used right now, and I think it's being overused, and they're applying it to every situation. It's this word they use called culture.
Culture? All right.
Culture. I think it's being overblown, the word itself. It's not our culture here. They culture there. They culture there. Me, here's my definition of culture. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a culture.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Because for 60 years, 3 head coaches and all 3 winning Super Bowls in their time and going to multiple Super Bowls in their time. And even when they have a bad season, they don't have long stretches of bad seasons.
Right.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, and in another year or so, I'm going to have to take the New England Patriots out of this thing called culture too, because they've been in win so too long of a stretch without being competitive. But for 20 years, man, when you're a franchise for 20 years and you're always in the mix of a Super Bowl, it's great culture. That's culture. That's culture. The things that people running around here say, the Miami Heat, since 2010, where they had their runs too, where they got a championship in 6. And we can start with 6. The culture. They're not a lottery pick. They squeeze in there some type of way, and they make noise. That's culture.
Yeah.
It's culture. The Dallas Cowboys is not an example of culture. The San Francisco 49ers is not an example of a culture because they've had too many stretches of long losing stretches. Both teams. have had long. The Green Bay Packers no culture. No, they on the borderline though. They on the borderline. They
Three quarterbacks in
30
40
years.
years, 30 years.
Yeah. They on the
Favre,
borderline.
Rodgers, Jordan Love.
And the culture, for me to put them in there, Jordan Love got to be successful. They got to be. Him and this, what's the head, Mike LaFleur, they have to be successful.
Yeah.
And I will put them in there because you look at, but the reason why I was so hesitant, there was a time that after the Magic Man, there was a minute before we got Brett Favre. It was a minute before Green Bay got Brett Favre.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, though, bro.
Yes, but that was how long the stretches that they went without playoff wins.
Yeah.
The Lynn Dickey era.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I might be going, a little bit,
Hey, I'm good with it.
I'm sorry, my brother.
You lost half the audience with Lynn Dickey now. Come on, man.
Yeah, but you go back to those days. They struggle. They struggle. Don McCaskey and Sterling Sharp and them boys, they had, numbers, but not wins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just how the Kansas City Chiefs are a couple seasons away from me saying the culture, because since Patrick Mahomes has came, they have a culture.
Well, Andy Reid.
Yeah, Andy Reid.
And
that's just what I wanted to put that on your mind, because I just so tired every time I turn on ESPN. Culture. What culture?
Right.
They ain't one.
No doubt.
Man. So that's what I just wanted to talk with you about right there, Ken Foles. I know you getting ready to wrap this thing up.
Yes, sir. We had 35 in, and I want to give a shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight. Now here's the housekeeping duties, and we normally do this at the beginning of the show, but we had a guest. So before you guys get out, I know some of you guys are probably watching on Facebook, probably some watching on Twitter. If you're watching on either one of those platforms, go to the YouTube channel at K Moore Sports, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you've already done that, share the show out on your media platforms. That'll help us get more likes, get more views, can continue to be able to provide more content. If you're on the YouTube version of the show, just hit that notification bell, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That way you'll know when the shows are coming out and whatnot. I think it's been a heck of a show, man. It's been a heck of a show. We had my boy Santoria Black in. We talked, if you joined us late, we talked March Madness at the beginning of the show. We forgot to mention the women. I have to mention the women before we get out of here. The women's bracket, the number one seeds, South Carolina, Texas, USC, and Iowa. Those are the four number one seeds on the women's bracket. Iowa,
LSU,
Texas, I'm going to get to them in a minute, USC, and South Carolina. Those are your four number one seeds. As I predicted, LSU is in the same bracket with Iowa. LSU is a number 3 overall seed. Those teams, if they could win out, they would meet in the Elite 8 for a chance to go to the Final Four. I knew the committee would put them on the same side of the bracket because they don't really want to risk one of them losing before they get to the Final Four.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, we're going to make that the game to see who goes to the Final Four. So it'll be interesting to see if both of those teams can make it through the first 2 weekends and get to that Elite 8 game. And that will break all women's television ratings.
Well,
Angel Reese
the
and
LSU
Caitlin
South Carolina would bring in a lot of ratings too, bro.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark is the money machine, though, bro.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
She
Shout out
is.
to her, phenomenal basketball player. Probably one of the greatest collegiate basketball players that I've seen. I've seen my share. Huge Cheryl Swoop fan at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Cheryl Miller at USC.
Yes, and Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
Went to. Teresa went to
USC, I believe.
She went to Tennessee.
No, USC, I believe. I think she
went to
USC.
Okay.
And people always sleep on Clarissa Davis from the University of Texas. One of the greatest women basketball players ever. She never gets mentioned. I was at Texas at the same time that she was there, and that young lady was tremendous, and she's always forgotten. So I want to give her flowers. One of the greatest ever, Clarissa Davis. If you don't know her, go Google her. Tremendous.
I will have to. You're gonna keep Texas on the screen the best every chance you get. So you give me no choice but to do my homework.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But hey, brothers, let's do it again.
Like this here, man.
Yeah.
In the words of the great Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do when the danger zone run wild on you? Do you want to see you?
I like it, brother. I like it. Well, I'll let you next Sunday night, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Have a blessed week.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
All right, bro.
We out.